Hi guys. Hi Bubba, I know you want to come and play. All right, there we go. All right, just wanted to make sure everything was off. Okay, Pumpkin, I know, Bubba. Okay, all right, I know, but we gotta get up. You gotta move, Bubba. I know, baby. I know you want to play. Okay, go play over there. Good boy, good boy. All right, so happy Magic Monday, you guys. I have a great little card for us today. It's actually a pretty quick card. Let me bring the light over. I have this great little light that brightens everything up when I use it. So I wanted to do I didn't have a lot of time. I've actually been thinking about this card for quite some time and finally figured out how I was going to do it. I love this Watercolor World stamp. And this carried over from the main catalog to the current catalog and to the annual catalog. And I'm so glad it did, because I teach English as a second language. Well, I used to teach English as a second language. So I'm always thinking of like international things and teaching and that kind of stuff. So I went ahead and I love this stamp set. I think this was I got this for free with some rewards because I had earned enough from sales. So I'm pretty sure I got this one for free. I need to check, but and these are in the clearance section right now. They're only about I think $3.20 or something like that. I love these little stars. We're using the baby ones, not the large ones, and you'll see why in a minute. And we're using the Alphabet a la Mode dies. And these are really great letter dies. And I'll show you the letters here in a second. They're really fine, but they're just great. So the card we're going to make today is super cute. It's a little Epcot card. It's very simple as a whole, super quick. The only hard part is just cutting out these little letters. And so I don't have a sentiment, but maybe we can think of one, I don't know, in a minute. I was thinking I might be able to use a sentiment from this one here. I just wasn't quite sure. Let me see. Oh, there it is. I put it together. I meant to do I thought maybe something from here, because I thought maybe it would be talk a little bit about traveling, but it doesn't. I think there's another stamp set that talks about traveling or adventure. Yeah. And so I think that, we'll just leave it as is. So let's get our card going. Thanks for tuning in. And here are our little pieces. Okay. And I'll get those in a second. I just put them in a little basket so I don't lose them. I used them with the mini Stamp Cut and Emboss. So we're going to use 2 cards or 2 pieces of white. Not a complicated card, very simple, but I just thought it was fun. So let's go ahead and get our design going. These stars basically motivated me to do the whole, the world made me think of Epcot, but I was trying to figure out how I was going to showcase the world, how are you going to do that with the stamp, it just didn't make sense to me. So I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it, but I decided to use the colors here are what inspired the whole scheme, because I wanted to keep these colors, these resin star colors, and they're on clearance, so go ahead and grab them. And this stamp will leave some little blotchy parts, so that's okay. And this block is the F block. You need a really large block for this particular stamp. And just press it down. Since we don't have a Stamparatus, I'm just going to try my best. And I put it a little bit high because I want to have the letters down here. And, I don't want to cover up all the countries with the letters. So I did it a little bit on the high side, but it's not too high. So there we go. So I got a nice little imprint. And these blotches are intentional. It is the watercolor effect of the stamp. That's the intention of it. So I decided to use green So I'm using Blueberry Bushel as my base. And then I decided to use Shaded Spruce because the colors of the stars are, I think they're Evening Evergreen maybe, or Mossy. I think it's Evening Evergreen. And so I didn't want to use the exact same color as my letters or as my stars. So I was kind of stuck. But I thought that Blueberry Bushel was a good background and Shaded Spruce goes well with it, you know. So that's how we wound up with this. Oh, and let me glue this on the inside too. I'm too bad I don't have a cute sentiment for the inside. But these would be really nice little like thank you cards if you made some and then made some and put them in, you know, when you went to Epcot, you could hand them out to cast members, you know, with just a thank you for all you do, you know. I was thinking that that might be a fun thing. I don't know if you do that when you go, but I know they really appreciate it when people, you know, are just extra kind. Okay, let me get my letters out. So I use the mini stamp cut and emboss. So we need EP, and I use the colors, like I said, from the stars. You see, this is an Evening Evergreen, which retired, which is kind of sad because I really liked Evening Evergreen, so I was kind of sad it retired. And then we've got our Epcot E, and I chose to use Daffodil Delight. I believe this might be crushed curry, but you know, you guys always know I use what I have. And so I'm going to go ahead and put Epcot as our word in the corner. I'm going to glue that down. Now, I should have run these through that, the adhesive sheets, but I didn't. I just cut them as is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my, okay, this is the back side. I'm going to grab my tweezers. I'm going to take some of these, the paper pumpkin glue dots. I've used them before. And I'm just going to roll them and do a few little dots. You know, I'm just going to place them. Oh, baby, don't come and sit here. No, 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 baby. No, no, pumpkin. No, not right now. Good boy. He really wants to be on camera today. He didn't want to sit with me for the last 30 minutes. I've been sitting here making this card. He just wants to sit with me now that I'm live, of course, you know, because that's the thing. Okay, so you see, I just put a couple glue dots on the back. It, you know, it's thin. It doesn't have to have a ton. You could also use white glue. I just didn't want I know that the white glue would spread out on me and I'd have to erase a lot of it. So that's why I stuck with these little glue dots. But you can do whatever you want. Use what you have. You know me, I'm always about using what you have. And I want the letters crooked. I like it when they're crooked because, one, it's easier to make it look intentional when they're crooked. When you make them straight, you know, the slightest thing that's off will show that they're crooked. And so you want to have them a little crooked because I think it just gives the best effect. I think it looks whimsical too. I like that. Just a little dot. And you know, I get a bunch of these dots with our paper pumpkin. I try not to, I use them up. They're sending less of them now when they ship, which is good because then it's a little less waste because there was, in the beginning we had a lot of extra pieces, which was cool, but then I guess people were wasting it and didn't like that. So, and so I want them to be, so this one I'll make sort of straight. Then we'll do the C. And I've got some more of these. And the white glue, like I said, will work. It's just, you just got to be real gentle in getting it out so it doesn't spludge all over everything. And I'm trying to stick to the main. Oh, I just put that on the front. That's on the front. Dang it. It's on the front of the letter, not the back. Okay, oops. That was a mistake. And so is this one, because I was talking. All right, there we go. You'll notice the front, basically the front of the letter is slightly beveled, just slightly. I don't know if you've ever been to the World Showcase at Epcot, but it's so fun to go to all the countries. They say that there's only 11 official countries that they have in Epcot, but I was thinking about it. I think they've also, well, I guess it's part of UK, Scotland. They've got a Scotland, which technically Scotland is part of the United Kingdom, so I guess they do have it covered. And then I do know that sometimes they'll have like different areas. Now, right now they're making a new Moana style, and see, I'll make this one a little bit higher. We're not putting one on India, so it's okay if it covers a little. Oops, that's a little too quick. Let's make it just a little less. There we go. They've got China and Japan, and they've got, oh, thanks, Jeanette. I'm glad you tuned in. And so I love going to Epcot. I love Disney World and Disneyland. Disneyland is my favorite. I always love Disneyland first. And maybe that's just because I went there as a kid. We went there every few years or so as a kid. I want to say every 4 or 5 years I went, And then I also went in high school a couple times because I was in band. And so there we go. And so I'm not worried about them being spaced perfectly. I want them to be, oh, and notice that I started on the right. The F that looked like metal. I wonder what looked like metal. Oops. I started with the Epcot, the T on the right, because then I knew I wouldn't, because if I had started the E right here, I would have run out of room. And then if I started, so that's why I made sure to start all the way on the right, and then I moved inward. It just makes it a little easier to space. And again, you're making it crooked, so it's okay if it's not perfectly spaced. Let's get that. I thought you'd use the F that looked like. I'm trying to think of what she's thinking of. Sometimes I get these comments as I'm doing it. I'm trying to interpret it. But she's at work, so she probably won't hear me. But I'm glad she tuned in. So we've got Epcot. Then we've got. You see, I want it close, but see, I like that up and down little angle, so that's good. And so there, we're done with our letters, but then we'll go ahead and take our tiny stars, and I'm going to use my guide here because I wanted to make sure I got everything in the right order. And so we have Canada, then we have the US. I chose red naturally for the US. I'm biased, and I moved it over a little bit because I want to have Mexico with its own color. But I still wanted to have bright, whoops, the little glue stayed behind. I'm gonna see if it'll attach. Might have to put a glue dot on there. Yeah, then put a glue dot. It pulled off. There we go. Sometimes if you pull too hard, you'll pull the resin piece away from the glue, which is what happened here. But yeah, for $3, these are great little embellishments. I specifically bought them with the Epcot idea in mind. Once I had the map, and I thought I'd be able to do little flags, but I don't have the room on the map, as you can see. And so I wanted to have dark and light all together. Oh, to make a dome. I see. I see what you mean. Yeah. So there we go. So we got the US, we got Canada, we got Mexico. Oops, let me make sure Morocco stays on. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do Norway, Norway is right on the outer tip there. Okay. And then we've got the UK, which is right here. And then we've got, let me choose a blue one here for France, which is right here. I visited France I didn't go to Germany. Germany is right next to France. And then we've got Italy right here. And so we're going to have to duplicate. Oh, that's too big a star. I chose the wrong size. Let me move that one back. I chose the big one. I meant to choose a small one. There's just not enough room for the large ones here. So they've got a lot of European countries, obviously. And then we've got Morocco, which is right on the edge of Africa there. So we've got Italy, France, Germany, the UK, and Norway. And then we've got China, which is right here, this bulbous area right here on the side. That's China. I've never had any Chinese students. I did have a Japanese student and Korean. I had several Korean students. I chose blue for Korea, or for Japan. And so I wanted to make sure light and dark, you see, because if I had blue here, it would get kind of washed out. But having yellow, Mexico, red, you know, wanted to try and make sure I had a bright and dark always like near. Here it got a little crowded because that's what Epcot is. It has all those countries. But yeah, these would be perfect little thank you cards. Oh, my glue is showing a little bit here. There we go. But see, I can just tuck it under. It's nice. And that way it's not gonna show off. I did a better job at tucking on the second one here. So yeah, so that's my card. That's it. All done. So that was what, 15 minutes? Now granted, it would probably take you a little bit longer only because the I did have to use the mini stamp cut and emboss, but I could do several letters at one time. So that was really convenient about these letters. I don't know if you were aware, but let me show you the letters here. I just wanted to clean that off before I put my stuff on it. So when you look at the letters, it has duplicate letters. So I could do 2 E's. I needed 3. So I could do 2 E's at one time. I could only do 1 C. And I could also do 2 O's because there's also the number 0 is the same exact shape as the O. So it was perfect for me to just kind of whip these all up together. And so I thought these would just be a fun, like these would be fun for someone who, well, just anyone who loves Disney, obviously, is going to be more prone to, you know, understanding or liking this, you know, especially visiting them. Okay, there we go. I don't know why that stopped like that, but yeah, so there's our card. So thanks so much for tuning in. And I wish I could think of a sentiment, maybe an adventure sentiment or something, or traveling the world or something would be fun. I have some that are older for that, but none that are current stamps. But I think that that's just a great little Epcot card, just for fun. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much for tuning in.